What's going on, people? What's going on? Here we are, another Wednesday, another time. I'll start it off like this. Oh, shout out to the replay gang. Shout out to anybody that watches in perpetuity in their spare time, whenever they have time. I appreciate you. I appreciate it all. So I started off like this. You do what works for you. Let's use a baseball analogy. For those that play, I guess, or get into American baseball, you have single hits, you have double hits where you get on base, you have home runs. For the sake of this conversation, let's start off with hitting singles. Let's start off with hitting doubles, where you get on first base, where you get on second base. And I'll look at it as far as content. As content is concerned, you have the content where you put it out there and you get a couple of views and you get an audience and you maintain and you build it up over time. Somehow or another, we got to the conversation, or I had the conversation over time about viral videos and, depending on that, or trying to, hit the home run each time, the grand slam. And as it comes to this creator journey, on YouTube or, whatever platform that you may find yourself on, I say to people, don't get so caught up in the trends. You look at them, you follow them, you appreciate them. Maybe some of them may even interest you. I tell people, do what works for you. Don't try to find yourself copying or going after or being like the next person. And the reason I say this is because, again, I've said this time and time again. You can compare your stuff to somebody else's, and you have your content and they have their highlight reel and they have their team, or they're further along than you in the journey. And this is for those that create, the creators. If you don't create, if you're just online, if you're just scrolling, if you're just looking at the stuff, then this doesn't apply to you. So I'm not mad at you if you watch this, so don't gain anything or extrapolate anything from this. But sometimes we need to be told or reminded, especially when it comes to our content, the things that we put out there, the things that we're trying to do is, you do what works for you. You make it happen in a way that makes sense for you with your audience, whether you have DIY videos, whether you do live stream, whether you do prank videos, whether you do vlogs, whatever it is that fits your fancy, that floats your boat, you do what works for you. And the reason it's important to say that at times is because when it comes to the viral videos, and hitting the home run every time and getting, the 30,000 views, the 50,000 views, the million views or whatever, you can't depend on that, because a lot of times some of us are just trying to learn, just trying to grow. Some of us is just a hobby. Some of us will never, reach certain levels when it comes to, YouTube or certain things. Not to say that you don't try. You don't try to do those things that's gonna, propel you or, catapult you to a different stratosphere. I just say be realistic with yourself, know your limitations, always try to push the boundaries and strive for higher heights and different limits. And the reason I say this, again, another reason, is because people get discouraged. Myself too, when you're out here trying to create content, you don't know what to do. You don't know who's watching. You don't know who cares. What's up, Cargo? Definitely good to see you. You don't know who cares or who doesn't care, or, if you're exciting or entertaining or whatever the case may be. And it's one of the things that I was taught. When you create content or you put stuff out there, go back to your old content, watch yourself, study yourself, take notes, try to find places where you can improve on the things that you do, no matter how minuscule or small it is, and be grateful for whatever audience that you get. For me, there's times where I've had almost 30 people, 200 or 300 people watching, my content, thousands of people, to the point where I may have nobody watching the content. But the question is, am I saying what I'm supposed to say? Am I at home? Am I myself? Am I truest self? Good to see you as well, Cargo. It's one of those things where it's about being true to yourself, understanding your audience, listening to different things, being realistic. You have to find a balance, because you do have to listen to the audience. You do have to look at the trends, or at least understand how people are putting things together in order to begin to understand this landscape of what's going on with social media. Sometimes you have to talk about different topics like, politics or things like that if you're in that field or that vein, if you're doing something with news, especially with stuff going on with Israel right now, or maybe you're into finance. You have to learn the latest trends and things that's going on with finance. Or maybe you're not political at all. Maybe you want to talk about religion. You understand the trends and the thought leaders and the influences that are going on in that particular vein. Whatever it is for you. And I tell people, there's no shame in doing what works for you. There's no shame in finding out your audience, and that's something I had to learn the hard way too. Because nowadays it's more about niche. We're getting into a time where things are going to go back to variety, but that's happening more slowly but surely, as far as being able to put out the variety channels, being able to do multiple things, being accepted in different ways, and being able to put out a panoply of content. So that's what that is. But these things need to be said, because a lot of times as creators, we don't encourage and inspire each other. What's going on, Creative Redundancy? Appreciate you. It's always good to have my Canadian people in here. Cargo, Creative Redundancy, a bunch of C's in here. Appreciate you. So and I see a lot of you out there still doing your thing, and I appreciate the 5 people. I'm surprised I got 5 people in here right now. But like I said, for those that are just coming in, do what works for you. You don't have to always go out there and try to create the viral video. You don't always have to go out there and hit a home run, for lack of a better term. If you hit those singles and doubles and you get on base and you score, and you get a couple of hundred, views, watches, or you get 10, 20, 30 people watch your content, you see that and you build on that. Like for me with my live streams, I'm right now, I'm getting maybe 16 to 22 people per live stream, which is fine for me. At one point, I used to have more. You just learn, you build on that, you grow, you figure the creative things to talk about, you figure out ways to keep people engaged. You try to respect the audience and stuff like that. It's one of those things where it's not always easy. Especially when you're competing with so many different people. Especially here, on these social media platforms, you're competing with big creators and teams of people and different people that may be funnier, more talented, and more engaging than you. And you find ways to learn. Yes, RBI. You get your runs on base percentage. It's okay if you just are good at what you do, if you cultivate your audience, if you are reaching out to the people that you reach out to. I don't take it for granted that I have 5 people in the chat right now and 2 people giving me the thumbs up. I mean, give me some more thumbs up if you got me there. And I'm appreciative to the fact that in this moment in time I learn. I just learn more about myself, especially with these series of live streams and stuff that I'm doing. And I encourage you folks out there to find out what it is that works for you, for the creators out there. Find out what it is that gets your creative your creative juices going. Thank you, Cargo. I appreciate that. Because I think we all have things to share with the world. I think we all have an audience that we need to speak to. I think we all have creativity in us. Well, most of us do. Most of us. Because a lot of times people are, copying off of each other. So, or just not being original. But it's a lot of us out there that still have a creative spark, that have interesting things to say. No matter how small, how silly, how stupid it may seem, don't just throw it away. Don't just scrap it. Like for me, I have a whole list of things that I have here to talk about, ideas and stuff that I go to. I can't show you because I don't want nobody to steal it. But I do have, ideas or whatever for, live streaming and different things that I could talk about, and that's just one of the things to do, I'm excited with this creative chat. I'm so excited with this creative chat. That's funny. I like the play on words right there that you did. Yeah, but for the most part, like I say, I just try to come to you in a way where right now today, where, it's just for some encouragement, just to let you know, hey, look, you got something in you. You got something that you could speak about, something that you could do. It's all good. I'm saying creative more. Maybe that's funny. That's funny, Creative Redundancy. I do appreciate that. And it's not lost on me for those folks that do come through, those that check for me. And I try as much as I can to try to check for you, because y'all are doing some creative, exciting things. And, like I said, it's okay to just build up over time. Don't be mad or don't look at other folks, success and say, well, why don't I have that and why can't I do this? And you find out where you are, you assess yourself from the position that you come through, you learn, you grow, you adjust, you change, you make yourself better at it. It's like one of my mentors said to me, we learn to practice, we practice to learn. Or we learn to practice and we learn to practice. We practice to learn. We learn to practice. Not to get tongue tied. But for the most part, I just appreciate this moment in time to be able to just reach out to you and you folks to reach back to me. And, I am who I am, at this point in time with the people that follow me, with the folks that reach out to me. If there's any suggestions, as always, if things that you want to see me do, if there's a way that you feel like I should, could improve, I'm open to suggestions. And I encourage people too, with your content and the things that you do, be open to suggestions, when people tell you stuff, especially from a good place. Don't be afraid to, have criticism about your content. Don't be afraid to challenge yourself and grow and go at a point where you can do, yeah. You need to connect with your audience, listen to your audience, appreciate your audience, be engaged, be engaged. And I appreciate you folks for engaging with me in this moment. See you next time.